Yeah. Well, and we have this guy called Ayah Pin, the head of a deviant leader. I'm sure he's very confident, and he describes himself as God. God incarnate.
I think, you know, confident doesn't mean the way you project yourself necessarily. It means confidence in your faith, trusting yourself in your beliefs, you know, that you've been taught correctly, this is what you believe in, and it ought to be able to withstand anything.
Yusri Mohammed, what do you say?
Faith is faith you can't see if your faith is being eroded. It's not like a headache where your head is throbbing. Sometimes even it's not like a physical sickness. You have to go to the doctor, and the doctors are the ulama.
Isn't faith an individual matter, though? Faith is a personal matter, though. Isn't that the case?
No, not in Islam. Not always in Islam. You have Islam is a religion where the divide between the private and the public is not as clear as in other religions. So you cannot try to.
But where does it say that the state has to regulate faith?
It's there in Islamic tradition. If we
that the state has to regulate how you believe.
It's one of the responsibilities of the state to defend the correct understanding of Islam. But at the same time, there is no substitute to knowledge. You have to understand your own religion, and there is no shortcut as far as this is concerned. You cannot use it as an excuse in order to prevent people of other beliefs from practicing what is their right. So if a Muslim understands Allah is a single God, he understands his religion as a religion of monotheism. So if other people use the word Allah and they mean three in one, or they mean some other thing, I mean, a Muslim should be able to understand that this is different.
Is the heart of the matter here a debate between liberal Muslims and conservative Muslims? Marina?
Well, I don't particularly like those labels. You know, I think it's actually a political debate. In fact, it's got very little to do with relion.
I beg to differ. We have a clear fatwa. We have a fatwa.
But
fatwa is an advice.
Number one. Number two, you assume that the National Fatwa Council is completely independent,
and you are assuming
you are assuming the reality in Malaysia. The reality in Malaysia is everything.
Is that the official past stand?
No, that's my stand.
The past is against the Fatwa Council.
We will come back to this, and we will talk about the link between religion and politics, specifically here in Malaysia. We're going to have to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll have more on this issue. Stay with 101 East. Welcome back to 101 East. This week we're looking at the issue of rising religious tensions in Malaysia following a recent High Court ruling which declared non-Muslims could use the word Allah when referring to God. Yusri Mohammed, just before we went off on the break, you said that this is an issue that is specific to Malaysia. Why? The word Allah has been used for centuries in Arabic countries by Muslims as well as Christians. It's also used in Indonesia, both by Muslims and Christians. Why specifically? Why should Malaysia be so special?
Yeah, for one thing, this is not the Christians in Malaysia are insisting. It's not a general trend of Christians, of Catholics all over the world. It's a minority trend here we are talking about, and it's happening in Malaysia, and we are dealing with the Malay language. It's about translating Christian materials, the Bibles maybe, into Malay. Malay is a language. We have our own dictionaries, we have our own systems of the language. It's about translation. And the problem is these people are trying to translate the word wrongly. And it also happens to be a sensitive religious issue.
I think we should point out that the Bible...
Two wrongs there.
I think we should point out that the Bible is not allowed to be translated into Malay in this country. And this is why they had to import...
Which is right.
My God, why? Isn't that some form of religious persecution? Come on, they've got rights. I mean, the people in Sabah and Sarawak, their first language is Bahasa Malaysia. And when you translate God to Allah, what, you disagree? God is not Allah?
If it's wrong, it's wrong.
How can you be wrong? God is Allah. Allah is God. Is there another God besides Allah?
God is Tuhan. We have this Malay
term. Tuhan is Allah?
Tuhan is a more flexible...
Is Allah not Tuhan?
Tuhan is a more flexible term.
You mean there are other gods besides Allah? There's another Tuhan besides Allah?
That's not.
I mean, that's the most, as far as the Muslim is concerned, that's the most accurate translation of the word God and Tuhan. And I cannot understand people who say, I get upset when they say Allah is three, but it's okay for them to say God is three. I mean, does it make sense to you?
Yes, it does make sense.
My
because
God.
Allah is...
It's a linguistic difference.
In what way does
I
it
don't
make
agree
sense?
that God is three. I reject the concept of God being three. I'm as a Muslim. I reject the concept that Tuhan is three. I mean, we reject
When you say
Trinity.
three, you're talking about the Trinity,
yes.
the Christian
Of course,
Trinity.
Yes.
You look at the Catholic encyclopedia. It describes Allah as a God to the Muslims.
Yeah.
But because they don't speak Malay.
Our own Malay dictionary, the most authoritative dictionary, describes
You know what?
Allah.
As Muslims and as the majority people in this country, we can afford to be generous.
What do you think is the motive behind the Christians, behind the churches bringing this issue to the court?
What is this question asked?
No, I mean, it is, I think, completely a proper challenge because they were banned from using the word, from translating it as Allah. They were refused to ban from bringing
there must be,
and
you have to see it from the majority
challenge.
Malay point of view as well. This is a very sensitive issue. As a minority
well,
group,
then, you know who I would,
be sensitive?
but you know what, then who I would fault? I would fault the government, I would fault the Attorney General for not being far-sighted enough to see and to have tried to negotiate some sort of settlement that didn't have to go to court.
And
having allowed it to go to court, not even thinking of how to deal with whatever scenario happened.
Yusri Muhammad, would you have agreed for Christians to be able to continue to use the word Allah in their publications if it hadn't gone to court?
No.